When we discuss economic policy, it's easy to imagine it as something abstract, an invisible hand moving levers somewhere far away, affecting the fates of multinational corporations and balance sheets in government buildings we'll never visit. The word tariff sounds dry, bureaucratic, a term for economists and politicians, not for people who shop at Walmart, pay rent, or worry about the rising cost of gasoline. But as anyone who lived through the Trump tariff era in the United States knows, these policies weren't just theoretical chess moves. They were deeply personal. They altered the way we shopped for groceries, planned for holidays, and even thought about what it meant to be wise with money. For many Americans, myself included, the years between 2018 and 2020 were an uninvited lesson in financial resilience. Suddenly, the price tags on everyday items, laundry detergent, canned tomatoes, smartphones, reflected more than just supply and demand or the ebb and flow of the dollar. They carried the weight of trade wars fought across oceans, the echoes of negotiations held behind closed doors. As the cost of living crept higher, we found ourselves forced to adapt, to scrutinize every purchase, and ultimately to redefine what it meant to live well during uncertain times. The story of surviving and even thriving during the Trump tariff era is not just about dollars and cents. It's about resourcefulness, creativity, and community. It's about learning how to live smarter, not harder, and discovering new forms of abundance in the midst of pressure. To understand how we got here, we need to look back at the policies that shaped this era. In 2018, President Donald Trump's administration began imposing tariffs, essentially taxes, on a wide range of imported goods, with a particular focus on products from China. The stated goal was to protect American industries, boost domestic manufacturing, and push for fairer trade agreements. In theory, tariffs would make imported goods more expensive, encouraging consumers and businesses to buy American-made products instead. But like so many grand economic experiments, the reality was more complicated. The tariffs quickly triggered retaliatory measures from other countries, raising the stakes in a rapidly escalating trade war. Almost overnight, prices climbed on products that many Americans relied on, from washing machines and cars to electronics and ketchup. For families already stretching every paycheck, the impact was immediate and tangible. Budgets that once seemed manageable suddenly felt tight. The cost of a new refrigerator, a pair of sneakers, or even a week's worth of groceries inched upward, pushing many of us to make difficult choices. The challenge then was clear. How could we adapt to this new reality? How could we optimize living costs, maintain our dignity, and even find joy in the process? The answer, as I discovered, lay not in despair, but in a series of practical, sometimes unexpected steps. The first step was to confront the difference between needs and wants. This sounds simple, but in practice, it's a profound shift in mindset. We live in a society that is constantly urging us to consume, to upgrade, to treat ourselves to the latest and greatest. But when every dollar counts, it's essential to distinguish between what we truly need, food, shelter, healthcare, education, and what we simply want. Dining out, buying brand-name clothes, making impulse purchases online, these things can add up quickly, especially when prices are on the rise. To take control, I started tracking every expense, down to the last penny. There are many free budgeting apps that make this easy, but even a simple notebook can do the trick. At first, it was uncomfortable to see just how much I spent on convenience. Fast food, streaming subscriptions, that tempting two-day shipping. But with awareness came empowerment. Each small decision became an opportunity to save. One of the most effective changes was cooking more at home. By planning meals in advance, buying ingredients in bulk, and cutting out processed foods, my weekly grocery bill dropped from $180 to $120. Over time, these savings added up, freeing resources for other essentials. It wasn't just about the money either. Cooking became a way to reconnect with family, experiment with new recipes, and even rediscover the simple pleasure of sharing a meal. The tariff era also encouraged many of us to buy American, to seek out products made in the United States. At first, this seemed like a straightforward solution, but as I soon learned, Not all American-made goods are created equal. Some were genuinely superior, offering better quality and longer durability. Others were simply more expensive, with little to show for the higher price. The key was to become a careful, even skeptical consumer. I learned to read labels, research brands, and compare not just prices, but durability and long-term value. For example, investing in a sturdy cast iron skillet made in the US cost more upfront, but it lasted for years, saving me the hassle of replacing cheaper versions every few months. The lesson was clear. Sometimes, spending a little more on quality can be the most frugal choice of all. Technology posed another challenge. Many of the gadgets we rely on, phones, laptops, headphones, are either made in China or require components sourced from overseas. As tariffs took effect, the cost of these items surged. The era of upgrading to the latest model every year or two suddenly seemed unsustainable. Instead, I embraced a new philosophy: repair, not replace. When my phone started acting up, I researched battery replacement kits instead of shopping for a new device. When my laptop slowed down, I cleared out old files and installed a lightweight operating system rather than shelling out for a replacement. I also discovered the world of refurbished electronics, which offered reliable products at a fraction of the cost. Waiting for genuine needs, rather than chasing trends, became a form of quiet rebellion against the culture of constant consumption. In many ways, the pressure of rising costs brought people together. Economic hardship has a way of stripping away the illusion of self-sufficiency, reminding us that we're all in this together. In my apartment complex, neighbors began to share resources, tools, garden space, even childcare. We created a small sharing circle, using a group chat to post items we no longer needed or to ask for help. Someone might offer leftover groceries. Another might lend a ladder or babysit for an hour. This wasn't charity, it was resourcefulness, a way to stretch our resources while preserving dignity. The sense of community that emerged was one of the era's unexpected gifts. We learned that abundance wasn't just about money. It was about relationships, creativity, and the willingness to support one another. In a world that often values independence above all else, discovering the power of interdependence was both humbling and liberating. Another shift came in my attitude towards secondhand goods. In the past, I might have hesitated to buy used furniture or clothing, worrying about what others might think. But as the cost of new items soared, I found myself browsing thrift stores, Facebook Marketplace, and local buy-nothing groups. The savings were remarkable: a dining table for $30 instead of $300, a warm winter coat for $15, a blender for free from a neighbor. More importantly, shopping secondhand became a statement, a rejection of waste, a celebration of sustainability, and an embrace of resilience. I came to realize that secondhand doesn't mean second best. In fact, it's often a sign of wisdom, an ability to see value where others see only the desire for something new. Each item had its own story, and by choosing to reuse, I became part of a larger movement toward mindful consumption. Entertainment was another area ripe for optimization. In the age of streaming, it's easy to accumulate a long list of subscriptions: Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, Spotify, gym memberships, delivery passes. But these small monthly charges add up quickly, quietly eroding your budget. I made a rule for myself: only one streaming service at a time, no free trials unless I was certain I'd use them, and exercise at home using free YouTube videos. The result was a surprising sense of freedom. Far from feeling deprived, I discovered that living with intention, choosing what to consume and when, was its own kind of luxury. Through all these changes, I learned a crucial lesson. Frugality is not failure, it's flexibility. It's the ability to adapt, to resist the pressure to keep up with the Joneses, and to measure success not by the things you own, but by the life you build. The goal is not to live poor, but to live smart, to navigate uncertainty with creativity, resilience, and a willingness to embrace change. The tariffs eventually faded from the headlines, but the habits I developed during those years have endured. Even as the economy has shifted and new challenges have arisen, I feel more prepared, more confident in my ability to weather whatever comes next. I've already learned to swim through deeper waters, and that knowledge is a kind of wealth in itself. If you find yourself living through tough economic times, whether due to tariffs, inflation, or simply the relentless pressure of making ends meet, remember this: you can adapt without sacrificing joy. You can cut costs without losing dignity, and you can optimize your life, one decision at a time. There is strength in facing uncertainty head-on, in refusing to let external forces dictate your happiness or self-worth. By focusing on what truly matters, relationships, community, meaningful experiences, you can find abundance in even the leanest times. Living in America has never been easy. The pressures of consumer culture, the unpredictability of the global economy, and the constant churn of innovation can make it feel like you're always one step behind. But with creativity, community, and clarity of purpose, you can do more than just survive. You can thrive. The Trump tariff era was, for many, a time of anxiety and sacrifice. But it was also a period of growth, adaptation, and unexpected connection. Looking back, I am grateful for the lessons it taught me and for the resilience it helped me build. No matter what the future holds, I know this: the tools I gained during those challenging years, the ability to distinguish needs from wants, to seek quality over quantity, to embrace community, and to find value in the overlooked, will serve me well in any economic climate. Thank you for listening, and remember, every challenge is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to build a life of meaning and resilience.